Hello children, welcome to science class. Today we are going to start our new chapter, that is force, work and energy. Force. Force is defined as a push or pull that makes an object move. Force is applied to put a stationary object into motion by increasing its speed, or to stop a moving object by decreasing its speed. Force is also applied to change the shape of an object. When you write, you are exerting a force on the pencil because you push it over the paper. In this picture, both the men are moving the trolley in the same direction, although one is pulling and the other is pushing, which helps them to move it faster. Two forces that applied on the same object and in the same direction will make the work easier and faster. On the other hand, if both the men pull the trolley in the opposite direction, the trolley will remain at its place or will move in the direction of the force applied by the stronger person. The game of tug of war is based on this principle. Force requires the presence of minimum two interacting bodies. The effect of force is seen by the change in the direction or motion or shape or position of an object to which it is applied. Types of forces. Apart from the forces we apply in our daily life, there are some forces which naturally exist in nature and act on us all the time. These forces are gravity and friction. Let us learn more about them. Gravity. Gravity, the force of the earth pulls all the objects down towards it in downward direction. Pull of the earth is called the force of the gravity. Whenever you throw anything in the air with the force which is more than the force of gravity, it will initially go upwards, but as soon as it loses this extra force, gravity pulls it down. Gravity is acting upon every object, whether moving or at rest. It keeps us and all other objects floating in space. Gravity is present not only on Earth but also on the Moon and other planets, though the amount of pull differs everywhere. The Moon's gravity is 1/6 that of the Earth. Gravity is the force that holds the universe together. All the planets are kept in their orbits because of the gravitational pull of the Sun. Each planet revolves so quickly around the Sun that the Sun's gravity cannot pull the planet towards itself. Yet, the planets do not revolve so fast that they can break away from the Sun's pull and hurtle off into the space. Friction. Frictional force is the force that acts between a moving object and the surface along which it moves. The force of friction acts opposite to the direction of motion. It plays an important role in our daily lives. We are able to walk because of the frictional force between our foot soles and the ground. It is difficult to walk on the smooth, slippery ground or if the ground is greasy or oily. This is because the presence of oil or grease reduces the frictional force between the ground and our shoes. If there was no frictional force between the paper and a pen or pencil, we would not be able to write, paint, and draw anything. Rough surfaces generate more friction. Work. Work is done when force is applied. We apply force to get our daily chores done. In terms of energy, work is done when the energy is transformed from one object to the other object by applying force. For example, work is done when a ball is kicked and set in motion. This work is done by the force applied to kick using muscular energy. Man has developed various machines with the aim of getting maximum work done with minimum use of force and energy. Simple machines. Lever. There are three kinds of levers. These are with different arrangements of load, effort, and fulcrum. Let us study the simplest kind of lever to understand the concept of load, effort, and fulcrum. The man is using an iron rod to lift the heavy package. He has placed a block of wood close to the package and he is resting the rod on it. He applies a downward force and thus is able to lift the package. Here, the iron rod is the lever. The package to be lifted is the load. The wooden block is the fulcrum or pivot. The fulcrum is the fixed point of the lever as the load will move and so will be the effort. The force by which the man is using to lift the package is known as the effort. The effort put at one end of the rod is transferred to the other end of the rod, which was pushed under the load, and the work gets done. Here, the fulcrum is between the load and the effort. In these, the fulcrum is at the one end and the effort is applied at the other end, and the load is in between. In the third kind of lever, the effort is in between and the load and the fulcrum are at the two ends. Wheel and axle. The wheel on its axle is another example of a simple machine. An axle is the rod to which a wheel is connected. When you turn the handle of an egg whisking, slowly it moves the wheel at a greater speed. The axle transmits this turning motion to the blades which rotate fast to do their job. Motorcycles, cars, trains are some machines that move on wheels. Inclined plane. An inclined plane is a flat surface with a slope. When we place a plane, that is a plank or a rod, etc., at an angle to the base of a surface, it becomes an inclined plane. This is used especially when heavy things have to be loaded or unloaded. Using an inclined plane makes the work much easier as relatively small force is needed. It is easier to push something up a slope rather than lifting it straight up. Pulley. The pulley helps us in lifting loads vertically by applying force in a suitable and convenient direction. It consists of a wheel which is fixed to a support. The wheel has a grooved rim over which a rope is passed. The load is tied to one end of the rope and the effort is applied at the other end of the rope. It is very difficult to lift a weight upwards against the force of gravity. But through a pulley, we pull down instead of pulling up, and thus less effort is required. X and screws are other simple machines or tools we use in our daily basis. Energy. Energy can be defined as the ability to do work. For any kind of action to take place, energy is required. Even something as simple as breathing or the blinking of eyelids requires energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy simply changes its form from one kind to another. Living things need food as fuel for energy to do different activities. We all need energy to run around, to play, to jump, dance, and even study. People doing hard physical work like construction workers, salesmen, delivery boys, etc., need a lot more energy than others. Cars and vehicles are non living things and require energy in the form of fuel to move. Energy is of utmost importance in everything. Right from drying clothes on a clothesline to sending astronauts into space. Sources of energy. We need energy to pick, pull, push, and move any object from its place. Energy helps us move and carry out different tasks as energy cannot be created nor destroyed. The chemical energy in food is converted to muscular energy that in turn helps us to do work. In the same way, chemical energy in fuel, that is petrol, gets converted into mechanical energy, which then makes the car move when we drive it. Water energy. When water falls from a height or flows, it contains water energy. This energy is harnessed to create electricity with the help of machines like turbines and generators. In hydropower plants, the electricity thus generated is called hydroelectricity. When water energy from tides is used to generate electricity, it is termed as tidal energy. Wind energy. Wind is moving air. This energy is used to produce electricity through windmills. India is the fifth largest producer of electricity from wind turbines in the world. Solar energy. radiant light and heat energy produced by the sun is called solar energy. This energy is vital for the survival of living things on earth. Additionally, this energy is now being harnessed to create electricity and heat to run gadgets and appliances. Many people get solar panels fitted onto the roofs of their houses that trap the solar energy and convert it into electrical energy to light up their homes as well as run ACs and fans. Hundreds of solar cells are joined together to form a solar panel. Each solar cell generates a tiny electric current when hit by light. The bigger the solar panel, the more electrical energy it can generate. There is no fear of this solar energy getting exhausted. It will always be there, and the most important fact is that it is non-polluting. Forms of energy. Energy exists in many forms: chemical, mechanical, heat, light, sound, electrical, and magnetic energy are some forms of